All right, so I'm gonna make this video talking about energy transfer, and I'm gonna talk about some of the experiences I've been having with doing readings for people and counseling and stuff like that. But basically, I've been noticing a lot about energy transfer, and what that means is like every single time that you interact with somebody, there's a transfer of energy, and to the level that you are aware of it is the level of which you will be affected inversely. And what that means is that the least, or like it, if you are less aware, I'm sorry, I'm stepping over a bunch of rocks right now, but if you're less aware of the energy that is being transferred from you to another person and then from another person to you, then you end up taking on more of the energy of the other person, be it good, bad, or indifferent. So learning the art of energy transfer will actually help you to put yourself into a space where you can start to discern energy and transmute energy as well. And it's always the best to, or at least in my opinion, the best to transmute energy using the heart. And the reason is because for me, what happens is, like I say, I've said this a few different times, like healing with the solar plexus versus healing with the heart. So most of the people that I watch that are healers, they try to heal people using their willpower, and they don't tap into spirit in the way that they could. And what this means is that they drain themselves in order to give to another person. And what I do is, well, first of all, I dedicate the entire offering to spirit, and I basically say, okay, let me channel through whatever needs to be said here. But then secondly, what happens is, after the energy transfer is done, meaning like after we're done talking to each other on the, in the session or whatever, I always feel a burst of physical energy, and along with that though comes a burst of mental energy as well. And this isn't always positive or negative mental energy. What happens is that the thought patterns of the other person start to roll into my head too, and this is where transmutation comes in. Because if you don't know how to transmute this energy in yourself, and this is what it means to say that if you don't know how to love yourself, then you have no idea how to love another person. Because every time that you transfer energy with them, all you're doing is just sending them more things to deal with themselves. So what happens is that I take on this energy, and then since I've done so much work on myself, and since I've done so much introspection and so much self-healing, and so much like I have understanding now of the way that thoughts work, and the way that identity works, and the way that you kind of like, you identify with every single one of the thoughts that you're experiencing, and your identity is literally what makes the thought a reality. Check out the spider. It's building its web. It's metaphorical. I don't know if I want to keep going this way. Is it even... Dang. All right, I'm sorry about that. Anyways, so I didn't want to disturb that buddy. Anyways, when you're transferring energy, what's happening is that you're taking on their energy and you're giving them your energy. So when healing with the heart, what you're doing is you're starting to see the other person as being an extension of yourself. And by that nature, what that means is that you share energy both with them and with yourself. So the heart is a non-dualistic energy set point, which means that there's no discernment, and there's no, when I say discernment, sorry, there's no difference between you and another when you're looking at somebody through the heart. And the reason is because in reality, we are all one. And using this understanding is how you actually transmute energy with the heart too. Because what happens is that most of the people that you go to heal are going to have things that you are able to work through in yourself, but they may not be able to work through and at that moment. But what happens is that when they take that energy from you that is clean, what I mean by clean is like since I've worked on myself on most of this stuff, what happens is that when I give energy to the other person, they don't get a distorted form of energy, which is clouded by a bunch of judgments and thought patterns like that, what they have. They get a clean energy source, which is literally, it's non-judgmental or non-biased. So what happens is they get to experience themselves as being away from their thoughts for a little bit. And that will bring a sense of really profound, like, eye-openness for them. because they feel themselves for the first time. And what I mean by themselves is like themselves minus their ego chattering with themselves all the time, you know? And that's because, you know, the energy that you have is being transferred to them. And so if I have a clear mind and I have a quiet mind, then the energy that I transfer to that person is going to help them to have a quiet mind as well. So that means that literally you can only heal as much as you've healed yourself in a way, but that's still from the solar plexus in a way too. The connection to get it to the heart is to add spirit or I guess like God consciousness into the mix. And what that means is to change your source of energy from being from you to you being a channel for energy to flow through. And when you are a channel, what happens is that energy flows through you first, and then it heals you as well. So as you are speaking to that person and healing them in the process of speaking to them, then you're also healing yourself as well. And that's why I feel like a big burst of energy after I do a reading. And that's why I also don't get caught up in the negative kind of things that happen to some people, where they'll do so many readings and the next thing you know, they're in this weird deep depression because they've taken on all the energy of all the other people and they didn't know that they did it in the first place. It's like you have to be aware and you have to be conscious before you start trying to heal other people. You know, you have to know that you are healed in your own self and in your own right, and that that you are confident and secure in yourself before you start trying to make other people feel different, you know? Because like if you're on the same level as another person who's trying to get healing from you, then all that's going to happen is just going to be an equal transfer of energy, and you're both going to end up taking on each other's crap, you know what I mean? And like that's not very effective. And even if you are able to heal from the solar plexus, which means through your willpower, what happens is that you get drained really, really quickly, and you end up actually feeling worse after you do it than you did before. So the trick is to heal with the heart, and to have this energy of basically trying to be a channel for energy to flow through, and also understand that your energy is like a lighthouse almost. So like when you turn on your lighthouse, then other people can finally see for the first time their own boat, and they can see their direction that they're going in. And so when you turn on your lighthouse and then they figure out that they've been riding the wrong way the whole time, then they have the opportunity to turn around and to start riding back towards the light. And you can also have sirens and stuff like that in your lighthouse, you know what I mean? That are like, hey, look at me, come back over here, come in this direction, because like this is where the light is. And then they experience that light for a little bit of time, and then next thing you know, they don't want to not experience the light, you know? Like once they get a glimpse of it, then that's like opening a cascade door in a way. Like it's like as soon as you open that can of worms, you've opened the can of worms, you know what I mean? And so basically that's how you heal. And like that makes it to where whenever the people are taking your healing, the next time that they come back having a higher state of consciousness, and they come back actually not needing you to make them feel better, but they come back because you help them to find their own self and feel better in their own self, you see? And then that's actually very powerful, because it's such a love-based way of going about it, you know? And I don't know, man, I feel like this lifetime is literally, the whole point of this lifetime is for us to learn how to embody love in whatever way we possibly can. And that means freely sharing energy with people, because all people are just reflections of you anyways. And being a reflection of you, that means that it's also you at the same time. Because when you look at yourself in the mirror and you see your reflection, you don't think, oh, that's another person. And then when you move and then you see that, when you move and you see the mirror move, you don't try to move the image on the mirror in order to move the body. You move the body and then you see the image move afterwards, right? So it's the same thing with healing as well, where you basically, you move your body, which is, you look at the other person, you see them as a mirror image, right? And then you move your body, and then that moves the mirror image with it, you see? So that's a pretty actually good metaphor, because it shows that when you when you heal yourself in the process of helping somebody else, then you're also healing the other person. And what I mean by heal yourself is that when you just speak to somebody in love, and you speak to somebody without judgment, and you speak to somebody in the way that you speak to yourself after you've worked on yourself for a really long time, and you start to really speak to yourself nicely, and you're never mean to yourself anymore, you know? You're never like reminiscing on things, and you're just like, you're always in a space of like really genuine like communication with yourself and with your higher self, and with spirit and God and angels and all this other stuff, you know? Like you're literally you're in communication with yourself. And then what happens is when you look at your reflection, meaning every other person on the planet, as soon as you choose to move yourself, meaning you choose to put yourself in a higher state of consciousness with them, then their reflection has to change in order to reflect that back. So that's literally how you heal, is that you do the healing on yourself, and then by embodying that healedness or that healed self, you then heal everybody that you come around, because your energy is like you become like a walking radiator of like love energy, I guess, if that makes any sense. So what that means is that like as you choose to shift your consciousness into a space of more loving intent towards yourself, then what you'll see is that everybody in your external reality will have to reflect that back to you as well. So it's not only healing that you do on a personal level, but you can actually do it on a collective level, where basically the nicer that you are to yourself, the nicer that everybody else is going to end up being to you. But that's a completely different topic, I think. But basically, like, this whole thing was just to show that when you heal from the heart, you gain energy for yourself, and you give energy at the same time. So it's like a mutually beneficial thing. I'll see you later.